Welcome to the Freewrite, a show where we dive into the art of songwriting, storytelling, and the creative process. Join me as I sit down with writers, musicians, and other creatives to talk about process, inspiration, and creating something from nothing. If you're an artist looking for community or a fan wanting to hear about the creative process, there's something for you here. My guest today is Jack from Plasma Pool. A little heavy, a little fun, a little cool, Plasma Pool is three friends determined to make a bunch of sweet noise before they die. The band is deep in the process of writing their third album, and lead singer, songwriter Jack is here to share the beautiful misery of putting words on a page, perpetually seeking a bass player to no avail, and ultimately just trying to create something that he loves. I really enjoyed this conversation with Jack. I think you will too. There was a lot of good insight on the writing process and just the real world way in which the writing process kind of behaves and feels on a day-to-day. So I hope you enjoy my conversation with Jack from Plasma Pool. Jack, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the Freewrite. I'm excited to talk to you about songwriting today.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So the way I just want to start is if you could tell me about your path to songwriting.
I think I kind of just fell into it. You know, as I was a little kid, I always really enjoyed music. I know my little fun fact, my mom had told me that I was kind of majority deaf when I was like 1-2 years old.
Whoa.
And then that went away. And I don't know if that has something to do with like my appreciation of music, but
yeah,
I remember being a little kid and always just like loving like the theme songs of cartoons, you know, like not wanting to miss the theme songs. And parents always had music playing, you know, weren't really musicians, but like there was a piano in the house. My dad was always playing acoustic guitar. I was always just like poking around on the piano, like never taking lessons, but always just like trying to figure out like the Jurassic Park theme song or like, you know what I mean? Like whatever little songs I knew, like I loved kind of making noise. And I think the first band that I was in was maybe like 7th, 8th grade. And my buddy at another school says, "Hey, we're starting a punk band." And I was like, "I want to be in it." And I didn't play anything. And he, "Okay, I'll sing." And that was kind of how it began for me.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to be a part of making the music, you know, and I've always been really excited about like making songs. I love putting words down on paper and like expressing myself in that way, but I don't really feel like honestly, like I don't love singing. Like I don't have that like Celine Dion thing where I just need to sing, but I love making songs.
Yeah.
And it's so rewarding, like putting those pieces together and making something that didn't exist before.
Yeah. I love that. I love hearing we all have different things that like pull us into it. And yeah, I love that. I love that. It's just like, I want to make songs. How did it, so walk me through like from you said middle school punk band?
Yeah. We had this little punk band we were called Homeless. And we had a couple stupid songs. We did like a punk version of the ABC song. And we did like a couple NoFX covers. I don't even know what I was talking about, right? I was like 12, 13. Like, I don't know about anything. You know what I mean? I know about skateboarding. And we played some like church carnival. And they asked us not to come back next summer. And then in high school, we had this like 80s hair metal band. You know, this is in the 2000s, and we were doing this very like we would wear spandex pants. We all had long hair.
Hell
it was very like Guns N' Roses, like Motley Crue kind of thing, and it was super fun. And like we were arguably pretty good for like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. But it was very like derivative. It was very like emulating like these 80s bands that we thought were cool, right? So like I was writing songs intentionally trying to sound like those bands, right? And the kind of like corny, cliche, like sexual innuendo type stuff that those bands sang about. Like I was a virgin writing a song about sex, you know what I mean? Like trying to come up with clever stuff, right? And then that band evolved into something a little bit more original and different, and then broke up. And then I kind of drifted away from making music for a handful of years. And I would still like noodle around on my own in GarageBand or like make voice memos, but never actually like finish anything. And then in like 2020, got back together with the guitar player from that high school 80s hair metal band.
Okay, yeah.
And started making this project, Plasma Pool, and really trying to like, hey, let's see what we can accomplish and like make a serious band again, not just like guys that make noise in the garage like a couple times a month, you know, and really started putting in effort into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Walk me through what the general approach to songwriting is. Like we'll get a little bit more nitty-gritty with it, but like starting very broad, do you have like a general view or belief around it?
I believe that melody is the most important thing in a song. But the song idea doesn't always start with the melody. It often does. You know, if I'll hum something in my head or some little piece that I think is catchy or good, you know, or I can build off of that, right? And then I'll pick up a guitar and figure out like, okay, what are the chords underneath that? And like try and find like kind of the vibe of it, find, okay, what's the next section? Where's the change? You know what I mean? And for a lot of our songs, like I'll come up with like a skeleton of the song and then take it to the guys and then we'll work on it from there, right? Like Kenny, our guitar player, is a much better musician than me. Adam, our drummer, is a much better musician than me. So like, I think I'm good at coming up with like simple song ideas. And I know like, okay, there's something here that like, I think will make a good song, but I know it's not complete. It is like a skeleton, you know, and then take it to practice and then we'll try it out and everybody will kind of put their hands on it and it'll get tweaked and get filled out, you know?
Yeah. For that initial part of the process, is there anything that you do to kind of like set the mood before you start writing, or is it just like idea comes, let me grab a guitar, or are they different all the time? Or
it is kind of the idea comes and let me grab a guitar. Like if I really like it, then I might spend like a whole Saturday just like noodling on, like I'm not a good player, but I'm good enough to like put the pieces together, you know, and write songs. And I'll just like sit there and like, and figure out what I really want it to sound like.
Yeah.
But that being said, like, I think that's how things get started. But I'm not one of those people that think that like you got to wait for the muse to come, you know, because it might not come, right? So I'll often like just take some time and say, okay, I'm going to like work on this. And sometimes that hour is really productive. And sometimes I'm just beating my head against the wall, you know, but I found for me like that making myself put in that kind of labor is how things get pushed forward, you know? So sometimes it feels good and sometimes it doesn't feel good by the end of it.
How full is the idea when you bring it to the guys? Are you trying to have like a full structure, or are you?
I try to. Like this happened on last weekend, right? And I've got a full structure of a song. I've got, I think all the pieces worked out. You know, we'll try it. Maybe things will change, you know, but oftentimes it's kind of just a verse and a chorus.
Yeah.
And I know like, okay, these two like core pieces sound good. We got to come up with more, but like, let's play it and mess around with it and feel it out. So sometimes it's just that much, you know. I try to not present anything to the group if I don't really like it and if it doesn't have like a little bit of momentum.
Sure.
Right? If it's just like a little riff, like I don't feel like it's worth showing anybody.
Yeah. On the times that it is just verse 1 and chorus, what is getting verse 2 like? Like, and I guess even more broadly of a question too, like with the way that you write, I guess selfishly, like when I'm writing, I often will get to the end of the chorus and I'll be like, okay, cool, time for verse 2. And then I'm just beating my head against a wall to be like, what comes next. So I'm wondering for you what that process is like. If you've done your first session when it's just you and you have a half of a tune, what is continuing that like?
Yeah, I've definitely been there, that spot that you're talking about. It's like what comes next. I mean, I think for the music and like the feel of the song,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to like the kind of the pattern that I think I fall into a lot is like well, this is kind of basic songwriting, but adding things, obviously, right? But I tend to think of like a good song to me, like a good catchy song, kind of if you put it on a graph, it kind of looks like a movie, right? The way like
Yeah.
the stakes build and it goes up and then you got this finish. Like I like songs that move that way. You know, we don't really have songs that just kind of jam for a little bit or kind of set. Like some bands are really good at that where there's just like a vibe for a song,
Yeah.
right? And it's not very dynamic or it's not doesn't really like emotionally change. Some bands are great at that. That's not really the kind of songs I like writing. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out sonically, like, does it get more intense? You know what I mean? Like, how does it change?
Sure.
Lyrically, I think more often than not, I'll change like the substance. I don't really like continuing some narrative
Sure.
through all the words. You know, it might like the meaning it has to me might be continuous, but like I kind of allow myself to just like I'll say whatever I want in the first verse and I'll say whatever I want in the second verse, and they don't have to feel like they connect. They don't have to look like they connect. You know.
Yeah.
And for me, I found that makes the words more interesting. You know, that it can feel a little wandering around and like what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I'll do that line by line too. You know, like this sentence fragment doesn't have to connect to that next sentence fragment, you know.
Yeah. No, I like that. Is there you said that melody is like number one for you. But then like how do you view also like lyrics, harmony, chords, like the music, the like vibe? What is, as you're starting to craft that song, where's your mind at with all of those things?
So like I want the words to have meaning to me. But I tend to kind of like hide whatever that meaning is in like references or analogies or whatever. And so it's not very clear. I'll also think about like the actual like phonetic sound of the words. And sometimes I'll change words because I want like, you know, this moment of the song is like punchy and I want like a hard consonant like K sound or something, right? Like this word just sounds too soft like in that moment. And so sometimes I'll make little tweaks like that because I'm thinking about just what the word sounds like itself. I'll wait for harmonies. Like sometimes I'll know like, okay, I want this harmony on this part, but more often I'm kind of figuring out harmonies later.
Sure.
And that's something I'm bad at. Harmonies are kind of hard for me. And I think because I kind of sing in a weird, like, I slur notes and throw things away and kind of wiggle around a little bit, right? And that can make harmonies hard.
Sure.
You know?
When it comes to genre, how are you with placing your music within genre? Like, is that, for me, it's a conversation that always confuses me. I'm like, I don't know, indie, alternative, who knows? Like, what is the genre conversation like for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of people probably struggle with that. We struggle with that, which overall I think is a good thing. Like, I don't think if you're trying to make original music, I don't think you should really know what your genre is very clearly. You know, like if you tell people like, oh, we're like a pop punk band, like they just know what they're getting into, right? Immediately. We know what that means, right?
Yeah.
And if you feel like your music like perfectly fits into that, like that's fine if that's what you want to do. But to me, that seems like it's you're kind of putting yourself in a corner and two, maybe like limiting yourself creatively. Like if you're thinking that's the kind of music I'm making, you're constraining yourself to that. I mean, I write like broadly speaking, you call it, I guess, rock music. It's loud guitar music, right? Whatever rock means today, which encompasses like a million different bands that sound different, right?
Sure.
I've said since we started this band, like I would like to get like as close to metal as we can without anybody ever calling us a metal band,
Okay.
right? And I think
Yeah.
we're kind of doing that. We're kind of getting closer to that.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely metal influence. There's definitely like punk influence. There's definitely rock influence, but I wouldn't call us a metal band at all. I don't think if you asked any, like, even if you took our most like metal-y song,
Yeah.
I don't think any like metalhead would be like, yeah, it's a metal band. Like
Sure.
they wouldn't, and that's fine. That's kind of what I'm going for. I kind of want to like
Yeah.
walk that fine line where like you can have aggressive moments or like heavy moments, but still have like pop sensibilities or still have kind of catchiness to it. I don't really sing very aggressively. There's
Hmm.
little moments where I do, but I'm not like a big screamer or shouter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have a clear answer to that. And after,
No,
doing
I
this
like that.
project for a few years, I still don't have a good answer. And I've had
Yeah.
other people say the same thing, like, I don't know what you guys are. And when I hear that, it's like, good.
We're doing it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that positive reframing of it, of like what you were saying. And I also, yeah, wanting to be as close to a metal band without being metal is that's such a fun framework.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with all of that now said, when it comes to structuring, like setting the tone or setting the vibe of the tune, like some of your stuff comes in with like a big guitar hook moment and then into the vocals. Some of it, like, it's changing it up. How do you go about that? Are those guitar riffs something that you're coming up with too, or is that the another bandmate who's like kind of bringing those guitar riffs in? Like, how are you setting that mood of the tune?
If you hear something in one of our songs that's a simple guitar part, I probably wrote it. If you hear something that's a little more tricky, Kenny probably wrote it,
Okay,
you
nice.
know?
Yeah.
But that, I think a lot of that just comes from feel,
Mhm.
like do we want that riff to like have its own little moment there before the words come in? Is this something that you just kind of want to get through, a couple bars of this to kind of set the tone or
Mhm.
not, and sometimes you're starting really small. Like we've been playing with different like bass tones lately, and
Yeah.
like, okay, well, how much like support can you get without the guitar there, and then bringing the guitar in,
Mhm.
and taking things away, bringing things back in. We're a one guitar band, right? So that limits your arrangements, and
For sure.
it limits like, or it forces you to think about like, okay, well, what's important, what's not, like what does somebody need to be doing or not in this moment.
Mhm.
Kenny's a good guitar player, and so he's good at finding little flares and little things to add in there. Like we're definitely like a guitar based band. Like we like guitar solos. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't like guitar solos these days. Like fuck that.
Yeah.
Guitar solos are fun, but if they're worth it, right? If you're not just
Sure.
like kind of like wasting time with a guitar solo.
Yeah. Needs to
Yeah, a
be a
lot of it
reason
comes down to
for it.
the feel of the song.
Yeah. Oh, when I haven't, now that you mention it, I wasn't listening for this, but are you recording with the intention of being able to play it exact live? Like, are you layering stuff, or are you trying to keep it to like the way that it would be?
We try to do as much as we can, uh, or write as much as we can in a way that we can play live,
Yeah.
which is not always possible when you're making an album, right? And you need like a second guitar to like support this section.
Right.
And what we've been using is like the trick with the octave splitter on the bass, right? And you can
Nice.
send half of it to a guitar amp and you can get like a little bit more support there, like in a guitar solo or in the
Okay,
section
cool.
that you want to hit that's
Yeah.
actually like doubled guitars on the album. I think that
Hmm.
helps a lot live.
Nice.
But yeah, we do worry about that. And then some of it you just have to accept like, yeah, we're not doing it live. We're doing it different live, right? Because
Yeah.
like what's cool on the album might not always be doable live. We're not
Hmm.
using backing tracks and
Yeah.
samplers, and we're not going to get everything in there. The harmonies aren't going to be there. Like all these layers aren't going to be there. So then you find fun ways to do things live that work in a different way for that
Cool.
moment.
Yeah. Is there anything that you're really trying for when you're songwriting?
I'm trying to just make something that I think is good, that I think is catchy or fun to listen to. Like, we're not trying to be the trickiest band. I'm not trying to be like the heaviest band, or I'm not trying to like make some sonic landscape that people haven't heard before. I just want it to like, I want it to be something that I would enjoy listening to. Like, we've all
Yeah.
had a million of those days where you're having a shitty day and you're stuck in traffic and you put on some song you like and like your mood changes. And like, I'm trying to make things that can do that.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's for me or whether it's for other people.
Nice.
So that affects, I think, like, I want things with energy, right? Like,
Yeah.
again, like trying to like get close to metal. Like, we like intensity in music, but I also like songs that have just like a good vibe
Yeah.
that set the tone. It's hard to find that kind of middle ground,
Yeah.
right? Where we're not trying to be too tricky, but we want it to be interesting, and hopefully maybe it gets stuck in somebody's head.
Yeah. Are there any bands like that for you that feel like they kind of hit that middle ground, or that kind of occupy a similar space? I mean, you're saying it's hard to find. I'm wondering if there's anyone that you have found that you, and maybe it's a different middle ground. Maybe it's a middle ground between two other things, but are there any bands like that for you?
Oh, I'm a huge fan of Queens of the Stone Age, and I think, like, we're not trying to make music like them, but I think that they do a really good job of like having soft moments, having kind of heavy moments, having they have their own kind of like tone and vibe to all their songs.
Yeah.
And I really think they're kind of like masters of like less is more,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like little tiny things that they're doing that are clever. I don't think anybody listens to Queen of the Stone Age and thinks like, oh my God, that guitar part was so crazy, right? It's not like technically
Yeah.
impressive, but it's just like catchy, and like everything's kind of right in the sweet spot at all times.
Sure.
So that's who I think of probably when you ask me that question
Yeah.
the most.
Yeah, that brings up another question I had for you, which is like the idea of contrast. For me, I find contrast to be, or like being mindful of contrast to be so helpful when crafting songs, especially in the recording process with like, loud, soft, close,
Right.
far, dry, wet, like any amount of contrast I think is helpful. But I was thinking about it with your stuff in terms of like, you kind of touched on it with like you're not having like the heaviest vocal on the track, so maybe there's some contrast with like not a super heavy vocal but some super heavy like guitar or whatever, but also just I'm thinking about it with lyrical content to like song vibe, or with anywhere else that the idea of contrast might appear in your music. Do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that I try to think about a lot. Maybe sometimes in some songs we've been good at it, and sometimes I don't think it's like a rule,
Sure.
right? But it kind of is a rule. Like, it works,
Yeah.
and songs stay interesting when you have contrast, when you have some type of dynamics going on.
Sure.
And it doesn't always necessarily mean like big, small, or like clean distortion, but like figuring out like I've been thinking a lot about drums lately in the last year, and like where cymbals need to be or where cymbals don't need to be, right? Like,
Yeah.
cymbals take up a lot of space, and like sometimes I think when you're playing in your rehearsal room with your friends and you're getting loud, like things feel good and they sound good because like you're having fun and it's loud and like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. But then you hear it and you're like, it's actually kind of just it feels
Yeah.
monotonous, or
Sure.
it feels boring, when you hear
Yeah.
it back, right? And so trying to be more intentional about what needs to be there and what doesn't need to be there, taking things away. I think drums are huge. That's been kind of on my mind a lot lately. Like,
Yeah.
when should the drums not necessarily feel small, but like, when are you not hitting the crash? Like, when are you closing the hi-hats? And
Yeah.
it gives space for everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that relates to like, I sing kind of soft a lot of the times. And I'm kind of finding through making a couple records and spending time in the studio, like, oh, maybe we need to think a little bit more about like what we're doing during those kind of softer vocal parts versus those more projected vocal parts.
Yeah.
Right. And so that we're complementing each other a little bit more. Because sometimes you get into mixing and you realize like, oh shit, I kind of like created a problem for myself here, you know? And this part that I thought was going to sound good, like it's kind of hard to get it to hit the way that I want it to.
Yep. Yep. Is there anything that you're really trying to avoid when you're songwriting?
I guess I try to avoid, like lyrically, I try to avoid something that I think sounds corny, right? I think everybody falls into traps of kind of like writing things that you've heard before, like kind of cliche things.
For sure.
And sometimes I'll just like, if I don't know the words I want to say, like I'll write a shitty line and then like stare at it and think like, okay, like how can I like remodel that line?
Yeah.
To say the thing with different words, you know, like that's the meaning of the I miss you, I feel sad, right? Like that's like the meaning of the line, but I'm not going to sing I miss you, I feel sad. Like, how can I like just make that interesting to me?
Yeah.
There's kind of a tricky, I think, endeavor to try and like be original, for lack of a better word, you know, and like, and be authentic at the same time, which those two things can conflict.
Sure.
Right. I was thinking about this earlier, you know, like everything, if I'm making a rock band right now, right? Like I'm doing this in a post Led Zeppelin world, a post Nirvana world, right? A post Muse world, whatever band, right? Like whether I like it or not, all that stuff's been done. I've heard it all. The listeners have heard it all, right? So like you can try and make something authentic, and I guess at like a base definition, that means just like what comes out of you, right?
Yeah.
And what might come out of you might be shitty or it might be unoriginal, you know? And so you're trying to be original to yourself or like unique in your own way. And that takes a certain amount of like intention and it has to be contrived in a way, right? So trying to balance those things, like without trying too hard. Like I'm not trying to like use weird words just to like say I use like in my vocabulary now. You know?
Yeah.
So trying to balance those things.
Totally. I think about that all the time. I feel like when I'm writing, I have a very sensitive, corny meter where like I really try to be noticing it. I heard I can't remember what song it is. I wish I could right now. There's a Paul McCartney song that like the first lyrics are like walking down the street, talking to all the people that I meet. And I remember the first time I heard that being like, you're Paul McCartney. You can't have that cliche of a line. And then I thought about it more. I was like, he might have been the first one to ever fucking write that line. Like,
That's true.
Maybe it wasn't the biggest cliche in the world when he wrote it. But if you're going to write a line like that now, you better have a good reason to do it. You got to know that I don't know. That's how I feel about it now. Like if you're going to hit me with a line that cliche, like that's got to be on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've said to the guys, like, dude, if I ever come in here with lyrics that start with like, I got out of bed, like fucking slap me. You know? But then again, it comes back to like delivery. Somebody could write a song that starts with those words. And like, that's the funny thing about lyrics is like, they get so much from the delivery and the context of like what they're in and the sounds around it. Right.
Yeah.
Because you could take anybody's lyrics that you think are great and you could read them in a way that sounds stupid, you know, like, or somebody else's style could just make them stupid. Like, so it's so much about like the character of the voice and what sounds are around it that make you, I think, like buy into what the singer is doing, for the lyrics to be persuasive. Because you can take those exact same words and somebody else could make them shit.
You can take any great Chance the Rapper or Childish Gambino song from 5-10 years ago and sing it as an acoustic singer-songwriter cover, and it will sound horrific. So I'm completely on board. There's times that I get jealous. I'm like, dang, when you're rapping, you can say something that could be corny. Like you can say, those silly not metaphors, but like comparisons or word plays of, I got that whatever, and then say someone's name. and that it sounds great in a rap, and it would sound so dumb in a slow acoustic ballad.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah,
yeah, rap is an interesting genre because like I think it's even more true in rap and hip hop where like the character of who's talking like completely sells you or doesn't sell you, right?
sure.
You got like think about like Biggie, right? Who just has this voice that's just so
Yeah,
like commanding and imposing. Like you just it's like almost like, damn, dude, all right, like
yeah,
don't yell at me, right? Like he can kind of say anything and sell it in that character, right? And somebody else
sure.
could rap those same lines and you're not going to believe it,
Yeah,
right? They don't have as much melody. They don't have as much like musicality in the words, right? And so it is just based on who that person is and do you believe them? And that's why I think you don't hear like you hear cover bands all the time. You never hear anybody cover a rap song. And you think about that, like that sounds stupid, right?
yeah,
Like a rapper just rapping another guy's song. Like it
yeah.
for whatever reason to me that conceptually doesn't work. But you could go cover a Beatles song or you could cover a Nirvana song and somebody else could sell it. But that seems so much harder to do in hip hop.
Totally, totally. You said something a few minutes ago that like you'll be writing and you'll like write a line that maybe it's not up to par with what you're trying to say or trying to get across, or maybe it's corny or something. Will you like literally write it down and then look at it? Like getting into like process here. Like, will that be like the literal process of like, okay, I wrote this line, but I know that needs to change?
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes words are coming fast for me and I'm cranking through like a good percentage of a song. And
Mhm.
sometimes I'm staring at like the second half of verse 2 for a month and
Yeah,
it's not coming, you know? And yeah, I'll type a crappy line and try to like remodel it just to like get something down, get the
sure.
ball rolling a little bit, try to get a little bit of momentum. So yeah, I'll write something that sucks knowing that's not going to stay here. Nobody's ever going to see this. I have to like remind myself, you know, because it's like, oh my God, what if somebody looks in my
They'll
draft
know.
Word doc and sees my shitty idea, you know?
Yeah,
But yeah, that's helpful for me to write something bad. If I
yeah,
have nothing, if I'm stuck, it's like, okay, well, put something and then change it.
yeah. Is it talk to me about like getting back into writing a tune? You just said it, sometimes it'll take a month. What's that like for you to like, I don't know. For me, there's a certain emotional context or something on day one of writing a tune that I often find very hard to find again on a subsequent day. Like I feel like if I don't get a full draft on day one, it's going to be tough to get that ball rolling again and find it later. How is that for you?
No, I definitely agree. I think that like it's never as exciting
Mm,
as when you first had the idea, or you're never as excited about it.
sure.
And I think maybe that's just unavoidable because like when it's new and you're pumped on it and you're getting it going, you're filled up with all this excitement for what's going to be a sick song in your head, right? And
Yeah.
you're excited about it. As soon as you get into something and you don't have 100% of it, you start to feel like, okay, what's missing and like, oh, what sucks about it, right? So like you're never going to
Yeah.
feel as good as when you first get that idea going. I think I'm most excited on an idea when I have the melody first. And that's when I feel the best about it. And I tend to make like the most progress in one sitting.
Yeah.
Sometimes songs are just, it does start with like a guitar part and then maybe like a change. And I still don't have the melody, but I kind of got the music pieces together.
Yeah.
And then I got to find the melody later. But yeah, coming back like on day 2 or day 32 or whatever it is, right? It
Hmm.
always feels like more work, you
Mm,
know? And I've just learned to accept like it's, for me, writing doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it feels great, and sometimes it feels just like a little bit painful. And I'm okay with, I guess, having to just like put in that time to find the words because I believe in the song idea. I think this is going to be cool. So I'm going to have to sit here and kind of beat my head against the wall until I get the rest of the words here.
yeah.
Um, that's been the process for me, is it oftentimes kind of dragging myself through the process, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very rarely do I get the whole song out like at once, all the words, you know.
Sure. Yeah. That's a great note. That's definitely going to be one of the clips. I think that's helpful for people to hear. Even like people who write every day, I think it's helpful to have a little reminder that sometimes this sucks, but
Yeah.
there's something about it that keeps you coming back. What is it? What is it for you? What keeps you coming back to it, even though sometimes it's not fun? Sometimes you're not enjoying it.
I really just enjoy like the feeling of making this thing that didn't exist, right? When those pieces click, and whether that's like finishing the lyrics and writing like, okay, like those are all the words that like fit on this, or whether it's like, I mean, you've played in bands too, right? When you're just like trying a new idea and it sounds good and you're stoked that it's actually working, or like somebody just impromptu comes up with a change and you're laughing like, oh shit, that worked. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that kind of satisfaction, I think, is what I'm chasing in making music, because
Yeah.
that's satisfying to me. You know, like I would love it if lots of people listen to music. I would love it if we got to play, you know, huge crowds, whatever. Be nice to maybe even make some money at some point off of music. But like that's not really the goal. And I can't control if any of that happens. And if it doesn't, whatever. Like I look at it as like, I get joy out of making music, and I get satisfaction out of like, damn, like that song's cool. I made that song and it wasn't there before and now it's here. And like, even if you hate it, like you can't say I didn't make that. You know what I mean? And so if I look at it that way, I feel like I can't fail. I did what I like doing. I had a good time doing it. Like it's real, you know. Whatever else happens, 2 streams, 2,000 streams, whatever, like I can't fail. Like this is just what I like doing. And if at some point I don't like doing it, then maybe I won't do it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of like satisfaction at the end, that balances out all the work and all the like emotional toil in between there, because making music isn't fun a lot of times. There is a lot of just kind of grinding through.
Yeah.
And a lot of like insecurity and like, what am I doing? And this song sucks. And like, but I know like at the end, like I'm going to feel good about it. And that's what's more important, is like getting to that spot that I feel good about.
Yeah. What tends to be, or it sometimes can be, the hardest part of writing for you?
I think, so for writing the lyrics for me, I think it's hard for me to, I think, be vulnerable in the words. And I wrestle with like, how vulnerable do I want to be in the words or not? You know?
Sure.
Like what's best for the music or not? You know, what's a better way to present my ideas? I think like in our style of music, I think it calls for like a little bit of more vagueness, a little bit of more like not on the nose kinds of thoughts. And I think genre can affect like how vulnerable you directly are, I think, in the words. Like you think about like pop punk lyrics are always just like right on the nose, right? Like, remember that one time I went to your house, and it's, you know what I mean? There's like zero metaphor, right? And that's not really that interesting to me. I like this kind of like sweet spot where you kind of know what the singer's talking about, but you don't really know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like too vague. Like there's some bands I'll read their lyrics and like, I don't know what this guy's talking about at all. You know, I have no idea. Maybe it's a love song, you know, like I don't really know.
We'll never know. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be that like opaque, but then I think about like a lot of like female singer-songwriters, I think, are so much better at just like being vulnerable. And maybe I think a lot of that is it fits in the style of music, like kind of singer-songwriter more stuff where it's about the words, it's about the vocals primarily. I'm thinking about like Phoebe Bridgers and like Lucy Dacus and that whole crew. Like they're really good at being vulnerable, and I wonder if it is kind of a male female type thing. I don't know. Like guys tend to write words where it's like we protect like our ego in a way. You know, it's like the words are like, you know, like you did me wrong, but like I'll get you back, or you did me wrong, but fuck you, I don't care about you anymore. Whereas like I'll hear a lot of girl songwriters say like have these songs like you treated me terrible and like I don't feel good and like I'm confused about it. There is no like they're not defending like their pride or anything. And I just I wonder about that as I write more songs. Like like I think that's a interesting way to write lyrics. I think it's a great way to like express yourself in just kind of like a more raw way of like, dude, I don't feel good about this, you know?
Yeah.
And so I wonder about when I'm writing, because like everything I write, it is personal to me. And so I wrestle with like how much to reveal or not to reveal.
Sure.
Right.
What's your experience with people talking to you about song meaning? Like a question that I won't ask is, in your song XYZ, what does XYZ mean? But I know that as a writer, that's been asked of me before. And I've heard countless songwriters talk about this too, that like, it's one of the things I love about certain old like Beatles interviews where they just kind of like write anything off. They'll just like say something tongue in cheek and avoid the question. And so, but to bring it back to you, I'm like, what have you had interactions where people are asking about meaning of songs?
Definitely. Yeah.
And are they ever right? Are they close? Or like how on the nose there's been a number of times that people close to me have asked what songs are about and they'll make a guess and they've usually been wrong. And that gives me a certain peace of mind that like, okay, even if I am being vulnerable about XYZ, everyone's going to think it's about them anyway, even though it's not. But I'm curious with you, like, what's your experience been of that?
Yeah, that's a good point, because that has happened to me too, where they guess. I'm thinking of one friend in particular who's always trying to like
figure it
bug
out.
me about what this means. They'll guess and they'll be wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've been right, but I too try to avoid answering that. Like I don't. I try and wiggle out of that. I might tell somebody like broadly what this is about or not, but I don't think it's helpful to really explain the meaning of your lyrics. And when I listen to other people's songs, I don't really care what the meaning of their lyrics are either. I'm more interested in like the feel of the song and if the words are interesting. Mm-hmm. And even if they're interesting, it's like I don't need to know like what they meant by that. I just think it's an interesting assembly of words that they have, you know? Like some really great songs are about nothing, like Rolling Stones, like Paint It Black. Like that's just a fiction that they created about this guy who's like love dies, right? Or like, you know, that old song Crimson and Clover, which is just an amazing song. Those guys said, they just put the words together. Like it doesn't mean anything. Crimson and Clover just sounded good. Yeah. And we kept it, right? Yeah. So I've never written words that way where it's like a fiction and I just do it because I think it sounds good. It's always had like some internal meaning to me, but I do try to hide it. And you ever go to like we're not a big band, like we're playing small bars and clubs and stuff, you know, like you ever go to see like a band like that, like a local band, and they start telling you like this song's about XYZ, and she's, I don't fucking care, dude. Just play your song, you know? Like, yeah.
I think it's another genre thing too. Cause I've had conversations with like singer-songwriters in like the more singer-songwriter genre, and it's like one of their favorite parts of the show is when the songwriter talks about the song. Not at a rock show. Like it's such a different vibe. Like we're not going to see. Yeah. No, absolutely. It is a genre thing. And I think, in singer-songwriter context, like it's actually valuable probably, right? Like they connect with their audience in that way and people are listening for that meaning, right? But at a rock show, it's not. Like I'm there to like escape life or problems or whatever. Like to me, this band and the music I write is a form of escapism.
right? Like, I don't want to hear about your problems. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I want to hear something fun,
Yeah.
like make me tap my foot, make me get excited about the sounds I'm hearing. I don't really care if like you got broken up with, and I feel the same way about people that listen to our music, like
Yeah.
I'm trying to give like that kind of like fun emotion in the music, that like a little bit of escapism.
Yeah. Okay, so now imagine you're at the end of a writing process. You're like somewhat feeling good about the tune. How do you know when it's done and like ready to be recorded and move on to that next phase?
I think after we've kind of beaten it to death, and it's funny because you decide it's done, and then you get in the recording studio and you realize it's not done. You're right, everything's going to change. But I really try to focus when I'm making a song. Like when you make a song, whether you're writing the words or you're writing the music or you're structuring the whole thing, like there's 1,000 decisions that get made, big ones, small ones, all along the way. And I really try to keep in mind to like never settle, never think like, that works, right? I try to avoid that on every little piece.
Yeah.
To just never say, yeah, that's good enough, or that works, right? Like whether it's a little drum fill or it's the way I sing this one word at the end of that verse, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I've gone through all that, then to me the song's done. If I'm satisfied with all the decisions that we've made, and if there's some lingering thing that's just not working, like it's not ready, and sometimes songs get the chop, like on our last album, there was a song that like a lot of hours went into it, and we got all the way to the end of we're like finalizing the mixes and just like, it's not working. Like this one is not going on the album.
Yeah.
And I think 100% that was the right decision to make. Because you can't think about like, oh, I put in all this time into it, or but I really loved the words and what I was talking about there, whatever.
Yeah.
If I don't love the whole thing, then it's not done and it doesn't work.
Yeah. What about when it comes to naming songs or naming projects, albums? How do you go about that?
I'll often delay like deciding the actual song title. And so what'll happen is we'll have like a working title for the song. And sometimes that working title is just there like forever. Like we'll still call our songs by a different name than what's on the album, because that's what we know it as. Like the song was called Sausage, and that's to us, right? That's not on the album, but that's what we call it. So yeah, I think it kind of, I don't know. I don't love like titling something, the chorus, like what the title of the song is going to be. I think, I don't know. Sometimes that's the right choice, but sometimes it's not. I like to kind of take it. Oftentimes I'll take like some piece of the lyrics, might be in a verse, might be in the chorus, but something that I liked, and that's the title of the song. That tends to happen a lot, and sometimes it's a completely different set of words. Right, the title is not in the song at all. But I'll wait on that actually to give it like a name.
Yeah.
Rarely do we have the name of the song like as we're working on the song. It's usually something that gets decided later.
Towards the end.
Yeah.
What about visuals for stuff?
Man, visuals kind of goes hand in hand with the endless endeavor of marketing that is, making music.
Yeah. I've enjoyed going back through your social media and checking out some of the silly stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
I especially got a kick today, right before we hopped on this call, of your Spotify bio. OMG, are you seriously trying to read our bio? You want us so bad. I was like, yeah, okay, I got. Like, so what?
Yeah.
Like, like the tongue-in-cheek kind of like silly, not taking yourself too seriously. Like what?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a constant challenge of like, well, you want good marketing, you want good visuals, but like one, it's super time consuming.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's hard enough trying to make a song that's decent. Like, I don't want to learn photo editing software and video editing software, right? Which you kind of have to do. And I don't want to spend time like doing all the stuff that is required to like distribute your music and sign up to these accounts, right? There's so much time that goes into all the things other than making music. And then it's like, how do you present yourself in a way that's one, like helping people perceive you the way you want to be perceived, that looks cool to me, that doesn't look super cliche. Like, I hate band photos, dude. I hate seeing like 4 guys in black t-shirts like at the train tracks, like that kind of stuff, or
like intentionally not smiling. Like how do you
we all have to look cool and uninterested and kind of like one of you stare off that way, you know. Like, I hate that, but it's all like, what's the alternative to that, you know? That's hard. Like, the whole visual aesthetic is hard to come up with. Everything we have, it's been self-created. I met a guy online who's helped us with like a few show flyers and posters that I think he does a good job. But like all the single covers, the album covers, the stuff that we have, it's all been like self-created, kind of like hodgepodge photo editing, doing our own thing. And there's so much content out there too. It's like, as soon as you think you did something like cool or unique, like you just realize it's not, you know? And so then I wrestle with that, like, well, how much should I look at what other people are doing or not, you know? Like, and that goes to like the name of your band, the name of your song, like the thing that you're saying that you thought was so original and then somebody else already said it last year, right? Like, that's a constant challenge of like, well, do I think what I'm doing is original and unique, and is it really original and unique? And I don't know if there's a right answer to that, but make it as good as you can.
I really liked your video from, I can't remember how long ago, but you posted the video was a clip of the Turtles on, I think, the Ed Sullivan Show singing Happy Together, it was you guys, it was your version of it. First of all, I was impressed with how well your lyrics synced up with his mouth moving. I don't know how intentional that was or how much you tried to nail that, but that seemed perfectly nailed. But I also want to ask about like choosing cover songs. We kind of touched on covers earlier. What's your process like for choosing what song to cover? Like, you have a release of Lonely Boy, right? Like, what goes into that?
Covers are fun. I think I slowed that Turtles clip down a little bit, maybe a tiny bit, like the tempo of the video, and then had to chop it up a little bit.
It was great. Okay, yeah, so there was some chopping to like fit with the vocal.
Yeah, like there's a cut to like the drummer, and it kind of worked out. I kind of got lucky on that though, because it was hard to find like footage that we could make it work.
It was great.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll answer your question. But a lot of the stuff, to go back to marketing, like we do steal a lot of stuff. Like, find footage online. Find like weird shit that I think is interesting.
Totally.
Because you got the balance, like, well, I mean, how much time are we going to spend like making a video that like nobody cares about anyways, and it's not worth it. Like, I'd rather spend time writing music than going out all day shooting for some stupid thing. So I think everybody steals, and so you got to steal. As far as covers go, you know, I'm always kind of thinking about what could be a fun cover. The ones that we've done, we've played around with other songs, right? And it's like, what can we make that we can do in our style that's fun to play? I think so. There's like one, the words can be a big problem, because some songs I think we could make a cool cover, but I don't like the words, and there's no way for me to sing like it. They're just words from a different era, you know what I mean? And it's just maybe gonna like not come out cool sounding, and I don't think I can spin these words in a way that like are good, right? So that could be a problem. But what's a song that people would hopefully know, you know, and how can we make it like our style, that in a way that's interesting, that contrasts the song. And sometimes what we'll do, oftentimes, is I'll change something completely in the song. Like we have a cover of the Beatles song "I'm So Tired," which I love that Beatles song, and
Yeah.
like the chorus that is in our version, it's just a whole different riff. Like we're just totally just like molesting the song
Yeah.
to make our own little thing. And I
Sure.
think that's okay to like rewrite this however you want, like, and not stick to the structure that is there originally. Make
Yeah.
something new. That's the only way covers are interesting. Nobody wants to
Sure.
hear a straight cover, and even if it like if the genre of the song is too close to us, like it, I don't think it's going to work because it's never going to be different enough, right?
Yeah.
Which is why we have like a Turtles cover and a Beatles cover and a Black Keys cover, and right
Yeah.
now we're working on a Cars cover, right?
Nice.
Like we got to change the feel of it enough to make it worth listening to, and to make it interesting to us,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah. Cool.
So those are kind of some of the things I think about.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, I think when people make covers, like I think you should do whatever you want to the cover.
Yeah. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Nice. It's time for the slow round. Take as long as you want on these questions, or you can just
Okay.
rifle through them. Up to you. What are your beliefs around inspiration?
I think you can. I think you can grab inspiration from anything. I think maybe everybody, when you're in the early phases of songwriting, myself included, like you're reaching for like big ideas, bigger, broader ideas, which I've really tried to get away from, and like find inspiration in like smaller moments, smaller ideas, right? I can make a whole song about just like this one interaction or this one little weird feeling with that person, not the whole relationship with that person, not like how the finale of the relationship with that person was, right? But
Yeah.
just this little kind of like window or just like snippet of
Yeah.
it, right? I think those moments are harder to find. I think that they make more interesting songs. So I've started to kind of look for inspiration in smaller places, like look into smaller corners for like, what's an idea that I can like expand upon and talk about.
Yeah.
And for me, that I think that makes the words more interesting, and I find things that I didn't think about before.
What do you find yourself writing about most?
Most of my songs are about relationships, about like fragments of romantic relationships, failed ones, good ones, bad moments. There's a lot of love songs, even if they don't sound like love songs.
Yeah.
If you read the words, I find it's more interesting to me to talk about like two conflicting emotions in a song as opposed to one emotion. Like
Yeah.
the words get so much more interesting to me. The song isn't about like, oh, I love you so much. The song is about like, I love you, but I also kind of want to leave, like, and
Yeah.
like wrestling with those two things.
Yeah.
For me, I think, yeah, the words that I am more proud of, there's often like two emotions in a song that
Yeah.
are or two ideas, you know, two feelings that are kind of fighting each other and exploring those kind of emotions. And that's a way for me, I think, to think about those things better, but also to come up with words that I think kind of tell a better story,
Yeah.
at least in my opinion. It's either that, it's either romantic stuff, or there's a lot of lyrics about kind of just like the general, like kind of like confusion and frustration of being alive. I think I naturally kind of have a cynical outlook on things that I
Yeah.
kind of try to fight. I don't want to be like a cynical person, but so there's a lot of that. Just kind of like, what are we doing here? You know,
Yeah.
wandering philosophy of my
Existential
own. Yeah.
dread. Yeah.
Existential dread. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But then also like I'll often like poke fun at that. Like there's a lot of little like
Sure.
sarcasm like directed at myself.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like I'll have lines where I'm kind of just like, oh, woe is me, like life is so hard, is kind of what it the line is about, but then there's a little bit of like, boo-hoo. You know what I mean? It's kind of like poking
Yeah,
fun back at myself in the words,
totally.
and that can come out in the words. That can come out, and like sometimes I'll sing things with like a sarcastic tone, like kind of like a little weirder delivery.
Sure.
I'll go back and forth too in songs about like using I for myself or using you for myself.
Yeah.
Right. So like sometimes these lines are directed at me and saying you, and I'll flip that, in back to back lines at
Yeah.
meaning. So talking to myself, criticizing myself, or like maybe I'm
Yeah.
criticizing somebody else, but like the direction of the narrative is turning around.
Yeah. Is there a piece of creative advice that you've really resonated with?
I like Kurt Vonnegut, the author, a lot, and you could find like all kinds of clips of him like giving speeches at college campuses or interviews and stuff. And there's one, I forget where the clip was from, but he's talking about like just like you want to be a writer, like get out a piece of paper, write a little short story, crumple it up, throw it in the trash can. Now
Yeah.
you're a writer. I'm paraphrasing him, but like
Sure.
the idea of like just fucking write, man. And
Yeah.
like, and I think that's the best advice I could give myself is to just write. And we talked about like writing crappy lines and making them better, I think thinking is kind of overrated. And I can tend to like, well, what's the perfect line or how do I really want this to sound? And like you just have to you have to just keep creating and write crappy songs and get to the good songs. I think that there is a required amount of volume to get to something
Yeah.
just decent,
Sure.
like let alone great. But I'm talking about authors. Like I'm not Stephen King. I can't just like sit there and bang out a bestseller like in one night and stay up till sunrise, right? Like
Yeah.
for me, it's always been about like kind of just putting in hours and figuring it out as I go and being willing to like not feel good about it until I feel good about it.
Yeah.
Right. And so the advice is to just keep writing, just write, even when you don't want to. You'll make something better. I'll make something better. I'll find the solution to this. Like when you're writing a song, you're kind of like building a puzzle and solving the puzzle at the same time, right?
Love that metaphor. Yeah.
And like it sucks when you don't know where to go, and you just have to keep pushing on it until you find that little piece, and then it feels really good when you find that you're about to throw the whole song away,
Yeah.
and then you solve it
Yeah.
and then you love it, right? Like, so if I want to get to that spot, I have to just keep writing,
Yeah.
and I need to take my own advice on that now. Like we're doing a third album right now, and
Nice.
I've got a lot of lyrics I got to write. I've kind of been out of the groove of writing lyrics. We've been making a lot of like getting the parts together. We're
Sure.
working on these songs. Some of the songs have like melodies. Some of the songs don't even have melodies, right? So I'm realizing over the last week or so, like, okay, shit, like I gotta really get back into like the writing mode.
Yeah.
Because if we want to record, soon, hopefully,
Yeah.
there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And that for me is like setting aside time and just and making myself do it.
Yeah.
And most times when I do that, sometimes it could be really hard to get a few words going, but like once you kind of crack the seal, like that helps me get back into that state. Then things start coming. I was doing this last night, exactly what we're talking about, working on a
Sure.
song and typing a stupid line and looking at it. You know what I mean? And
What am I trying
figuring
to
out,
say?
okay, how
Yeah.
do we change that? And then something else came to me, and then something, okay, now I'm like filling in the song. Like, okay, well, actually that can be verse 2, and right. So yeah, once you kind of get the ball rolling a little bit, like it'll come.
Yeah. What this might relate. What is a creative goal of yours?
I guess it's just to make something better than the last thing I made. Like I feel like in all the music we made, like it has gotten better. I've become a better writer. Like I think as a band, we're kind of honing in the sound, like starting to sound like a little bit more of a cohesive band, like
Nice.
with each album, and the stuff we're working on now, which is which feels good to like being able to know like, okay, this is kind of really what we're about here. We're like we have our first album and there's definitely some songs that are like outliers, right? Like they're fun
Sure.
songs, but like we've never played them live, probably never will. We liked
Yeah.
them, so we played them, right? And there's a little bit of that on the second album, and I feel like this third album is like it's getting boiled down to like what Plasma Pool is a little bit more. And like I'm sure you've had this experience, like you put out something that you thought was great and you listen to it now and you just realize like all the shortcomings in
Hmm.
it, right? And
Tough.
so I hope I'm getting better at that and getting out in front of those kinds of things and the reasons
Sure.
why I think that song is lacking, like it's not going to happen on these new songs, right?
Yeah.
Um, Again, like I think I said this earlier, like I really like making songs, right? Like I'm not trying to prove myself as a singer. Nobody's even gonna read the lyrics. Like they mean so much to me. I'll put in so many hours trying to like make this meaningful thing to me, but nobody's gonna even read them, and it whatever. They don't care.
Well, now that you can
Um,
read them on Spotify, you might have some more of that, but
yeah, that's true. Some people will.
yeah.
Most people won't.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
like, um, but yeah, getting to something that like I'm really, I guess, really proud of and have less of those thoughts looking back, which I guess I'll never know until I get there, right?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
well, can I live with this for 10 years and am I still going to love it or am I going to start
Yeah.
finding flaws in it, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I enjoy trying to make good sounding songs. So my goal is to try and make each little song like something that I'm proud of. I like this thing like as a finished
Yeah.
product,
Yeah.
even if other people don't like it, you know?
Sure. Yeah. Is there a music artist you've been especially into recently?
Recently, I've been listening to a lot of. There's a band called the Barbarians of California,
Okay.
um, which is like the guys from AWOL Nation, if
Uh-huh.
you remember them, and they made
Yeah.
this like metal band,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just really good. And I've been listening to those guys a lot lately, just because I'm picky with like heavier music.
Mm-hmm.
I really like heavier music and metal, but like I'm very picky, I think, with who I really enjoy because a lot of it can get boring to me or
Mm.
get monotonous and feel redundant. And these guys have like I think sonically it sounds really good. Like the drums sound really good. The drums are like always locked in on the riff in like kind of
Yeah.
simple ways, which I like when things aren't overcomplicated but still like really impactful,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think they do a good job of that. But there's also like a little bit of like I don't know if you listen to System of a Down,
Not too
which
much. Well, it's
I
been a
love. That's
bit
fine.
too.
But I love System. But it's like they're metally, but they're like kind of
Yeah.
this unique thing. And there's a
Yeah.
little bit of like humor in the works. Like it's not taking itself too serious, and
Yeah. I like that.
like Mr. Bungle had that, and like Faith No More, like everything Mike Patton, right? Where like it can be heavy and intense, but like there's just like a little bit of like a wink, a little bit of a
Mm-hmm.
not so serious. Like a lot of metal bands are just so serious. It's so just like
Sure.
miserable lyrics and intense and like look I'm so dark and like pissed whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And Barbarians of California have a little bit of this like jokiness too. There's a little bit of playfulness
Yeah.
in the heaviness,
That's good.
which I really connect with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we try and do that in our music. I don't think we're not sound like either of those bands, but there is a little bit of like not taking ourselves so seriously. And even in those jokes, like I was saying, some of those lyrics of like it's about something maybe very emotional for me, but there's still a little bit of like poking fun at me and like
Yeah.
calling myself, hey, Jack, you're being a little baby right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and even in the way some words get delivered, like maybe a little bit goofy here or there, a little weird kind of change.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that goes back to contrast, which you talked about in the beginning,
Yeah.
like to have this seriousness, but like a little bit of playfulness at the same time.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last thing is anything to promote and where can people find you?
Nothing to promote right now. I'm in the process of trying to book some shows for the summer.
Cool.
Um, our drummer was just traveling Europe for a month and he's back. And so we're kind of like getting back into the swing of things. So
Sweet.
hopefully we have some shows this summer. But yeah,
Yeah.
Instagram is at plasma.pool.
Cool.
Plasma Pools on Spotify. We're not big on like, there's some YouTube stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But that's really it. You know,
Sweet.
hopefully by the end of this year, we're either releasing some new stuff or about to release some new stuff. We've got a lot of new songs that we're working on right now.
Nice.
So I think we'll be stuck in the torn between like trying to play some live shows and trying to like hunker down and record, you know.
Nice. Well, I'm excited for it. I hope that goes well.
Yeah. Thank you, Travis.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for hopping on and talking to me. I really enjoyed this. It was a great time. Insightful. And yeah, enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it too. I think it's a really cool idea you have here. I've been listening to some of the other episodes.
Oh, sweet.
It's good.
Thanks, man.
It's really
Appreciate
good,
it.
man.
Thank you so much for listening to my conversation with Jack from Plasma Pool. You can find their music wherever you stream music, and you can also follow them on Instagram at plasma.pool. If you enjoyed the episode, it would mean so much to me if you shared it with a friend and left a positive review. Those both really help the show. You can watch full video of all episodes on YouTube if you search Travis Barrett and the Freewrite. And if you have the means and would like to support myself and the show even more, you can check out my Patreon page. I post unreleased demos, music recommendations, and bonus content from the podcast. I really want to keep this show going, and supporting me on Patreon is the best way to make sure that it continues. Thank you again so much for listening this far. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you make some time for yourself to create something today.